It's good company with Marv Levy. I don't know what's more impressive, that he went to 4 Super Bowls or he's still living when I'm 100. I don't know if I'm going to be living when I'm 100. But, hey, credit to Colorado State. I think Coach Summers really did a good job of having those guys ready to play and having them, coming out here and competing. I thought they did a great job of, creating some turnovers. They're battling a bunch of injuries. Quarterback gets hurt. And I thought they really played tough. So credit to them. I was so impressed by our defense. I thought they played great in the first half, and then I challenged them, at halftime. Yeah, you're playing very good, but what great defenses do is they can set up scores. They take the ball away. They score, set it up when the offense is struggling, and I thought they really answered the call with that and did a great job. And very, very happy with them. I think there was a few times late in the game when we turned the ball over so quickly. I think they got a little worn down and gave up a few drives. Austin Brawley, what a great deal to have him back. 2 huge plays with interceptions. He has a big hit there that, I don't know if Beers came back, knocked one of their best players out of the game. Can't say enough about him. Offensively, we got to protect the ball better. And, I guess the positive glass half full is we showed that we can find a way to win when we don't play our best, and that's what good football teams do. And, proud of this team, breaking a 13-game losing streak, guaranteeing a winning season, which hasn't been done here a lot and hasn't been done since 2016. So a lot of positives, but I think we certainly need to improve this week if we're going to go on the road and beat a solid Air Force team who I think is improving as the year went on.
I know generating more turnovers has been kind of a point of emphasis, but what kind of, overall was the defensive game plan for today?
Stop them. They changed quarterbacks, at halftime. They didn't have a great offense. We wanted to stop the run, try to get them in predictable situations. I mean, it wasn't really a special plan. It was kind of play our base defense. We wanted to try to take away 81. Because he's a really good threat over the middle. He still hurt us with some things. We played a little more man later. We were worried about 24, their young back, who was good in the passing game, handling him out of the backfield and then their 2-back stuff. But I thought they did an awesome job. We played a little bit more man down the stretch. There were some times that, in zone coverage, they found some holes. We played zone on that touchdown they had on the 4th and 3 that, they did a good job finding Beers, and we didn't do a great job matching up out of the zone, but that's tough. We had Beers, one of the best tight ends in the country, and he ends up in C.J. McBean, a true freshman zone, and he doesn't match up with him great. So we got to keep improving, our learning there. But loved how the turnovers we were able to create in the second half to set up some scores for the offense when the offense was struggling.
Obviously, the fumbles don't help, but it felt at times that the offense was just struggling to sustain drives. Where did you kind of see execution issues today, or was it just more Colorado State?
But poor ball security, poor technique with the O-line, poor blocking by. We have base concepts of you're supposed to block the most dangerous between the corner and the safety. So if it's cover 2, the corner's more dangerous. If it's something else, the other guy's more dangerous. We screwed that up a number of times. There's times where our counts weren't good. We weren't blocking the right guy. We had some contested catches that we didn't make. So I thought we played poorly on offense, and we certainly could play better, and we got to do a better job of, righting the ship when you have, bad plays. But credit to them. They played well on defense.
Sorry about that. Coach, obviously not the best offensive performance from you guys, but could you speak about the importance of defense in a game like this?
They played great. They played tremendous. They created opportunities. I mean, our scores in the second half really they created. Didn't give up too many big plays. It was a shame we gave up that one at the end, to make it a 3-point game, because that kind of got them into the game. I thought the offense did a decent job on that last drive, at least getting a first down. We got to improve our timing there. I don't like. A touchdown beats you whether you're up 3 or 6. So I don't like going for a touchdown there. And, if you kick off, you're probably going to give them the ball at the 25 or outside. So once we get down to the 15, we were going to go on 4-down territory. They kind of wanted – our staff, brought up going for it or throwing on 3rd down. I said, no, I want to take all the time down and get it to 20 seconds or less. And then I said we can throw on 4th down. But they did a good job. I thought they did a nice job situationally, understanding that, 4th and 3 or whatever it was, 4th and 4. Can I look at one of those, please? Yeah. Whether it was 4th and 3 or 4th and 4 at the end, that's not really a running situation. Would have rather had Jack throw that ball away there, because that takes a few more seconds. So that's something we have to coach up better. Because I don't know if that's a specific situation we practice. So we got to do better. We got to do a lot better coaching than we did this week. And I got to do a better job getting guys ready to play and protect the football.
Coach, congratulations on the victory. What did you tell the team at the end of this game? This is a pretty emotional game, a lot of ups and downs.
Well, I complimented the defense. I commended the team on breaking that long losing streak to Colorado State. I commended them on guaranteeing that we had a winning record, because I don't think there's a lot of people who thought we'd win 7 games this year. We still got 3 games left. But I talked about we got to enjoy this for 24 hours, but we got to get better. We got to improve, and especially offensively. I think special teams was solid. Luke did a nice job banging in both those field goals. But we got to get better. We can't. I don't think we played up to our standard today. Especially, I'd say on defense we played up to our standard. I don't think we played up to our standard on offense. And I love the crowd today. What a great crowd. Thank you, all you fans who came out, 27,000. I mean, it was our best crowd since Colorado State, and it should be since New Mexico State. And I'm sure that's one of the better November crowds. It's probably
since 2008.
Since 2008. So that's awesome.
Coach, I guess it's hard to say that the bye week affected the team because the defense stepped up. I mean, but did you see anything there that, looking back, that might have?
Yeah, I don't think it affected the team. I mean, maybe you could make a case it affected our ball carriers. We don't tackle live in practice at this time of the year because of the risk of injury. So, maybe just getting tackled hard and putting helmets in the ball, that's something you hadn't seen in 2 weeks. So I think that'd be a valid hypothesis. I don't know if it's true or not, but you could make that hypothesis. But I don't know if I'd say anything else, because I thought defense. I think defense played better than they played against UNLV. UNLV's a lot better offensively than Colorado State.
Second hypothesis: do you feel like you guys played to the level of your competition?
Maybe on offense. I think on offense, and they're foolish. If we did that, we're foolish because. I thought this team, as you looked in on film, was relatively better on defense. They had struggled on offense. They were only averaging 18 points a game. They hit about their average. I would have loved to score more than we did.
Coach, you mentioned the fan attendance today, 27,000. There was a group of shirtless men in the corner. Did you notice them? And when I asked them,
I noticed them, and I said, "Geez, we're not playing very good," because that's usually the teams do to stay in the crowd when the teams like Oklahoma State started that, didn't they? When they were so crappy and losing to bad people. So I kind of said, "Geez, we need to play better." If they're going to that to entertain themselves.
And what does it mean to you? Because I asked one of them, I said, what was kind of the mentality here? And they said, bows up, shirts off, boys. And they also have plans to go to Air Force. For any of those thinking of traveling, taking the highway to go support you guys, what do you have to say to those fans?
I encourage you to come up. It's drivable. Probably won't be as beautiful a day as we had today, but I'm appreciative of our fans. Great turnout. And I want to thank our administration. I know Fernando and his team really went all out, through this bye week to promote that game, because that, you don't get 27,000 people to just come by accident. I think I looked up what the Washington State crowd was last year, which was a great win for the school. That was 14,000. So you don't almost double a November attendance for a big game by accident. They really worked their tails off. So I'm appreciative to them of all the work they did and all the people who came.
4 sacks for CSU today, and you talked to on the week about what they do pressure-wise and how it just creates challenges and all that. How did you feel that Jack and the rest of the offense managed that pressure?
Early in the game, they didn't pressure it as much. They played more zone. I think they were nervous early in the game about, maybe Bankston, because we, hurt some people against man coverage and we hurt UNLV. So early in the game, they played a lot more zone than we expected, and they really played a lot of cover 2 and kind of dared us to run it. And then a lot of times when we ran it, we fumbled. Now, late in the game, I think once they kind of reverted a little bit more, and we saw some pressure later in the game. They had a good pressure on a one-on-one, play to Keegan down the sideline. It was really the same play he had twice against UNLV, and he made tough contested catches, and then we didn't make that one. So I think we did all right. We heard us early. We called a play that was more of a man play, and we didn't. They kind of disguised it good and played zone. It was when we threw to Bankston in the flat and got nothing on it. That was a play we was really designed for man, and they kind of left man and played zone. So, good job by them. I think they mixed it up, and they were probably worried about some of their matchups and man coverage.
Obviously, Brawley, a guy super familiar with this defense and all that as well. Did you kind of expect this kind of performance, first game back from him?
No, I didn't. just think how many turnovers we would have created if you hadn't gotten hurt. So we got to put him in a bubble and keep him healthy because if he had 2 turnovers in all those, 8 games he missed, he'd be leading the country in interceptions. It might be the school record or something if he had 16 interceptions. So it was good to have him back.
Coach, you kind of touched on the fact that, you clinched a winning season today. You also kept your undefeated at home streak alive. Can you just talk about which one kind of means more to you and how cool it is that you continue to, reach these accolades?
They're both pretty good. I don't know. I'm pretty happy about both. We got the second one was being undefeated at home. What was the first one again?
Just clinching the winning season.
Yeah, I think they're both big. We got some work to do. We're 5-0. I think the 62 team was 5-0 at home as well. Was the 62 team 6-0 as well? 5-0. They were 5-0. So is that the only undefeated team in school history at home?
No, there's a 6-0 team a little further back.
Okay, so we can, there's not a lot of teams that have been undefeated at home here, so that'll be a great thing. But we can't worry about that. That's 2 weeks away. We got to worry about going to beat Air Force on the road, and again, they're a good team. I think has gotten better as the year goes on from what I've seen. So.
I know that group that you were talking about earlier, they really wanted you to take your shirt off. I'm just curious if there's anything that would get you to eventually take your shirt off and join them.
We got to play a lot better. We'll see. If we beat San Diego State at home and we have another great crowd and we win that one might get me to take my shirt off with those guys. But we need all those guys back because that was a good crowd today. We need that crowd again.
Coach, how big were those second half defensive turnovers that you guys forced? Did they change the complexion?
They were
of the game?
big because I don't know if we would have scored. Our scoring drives in the second half. We had a 21-yard scoring drive and a 1-yard scoring drive. So you look at that. Those were pretty big because we might have been stuck on 10 points if the defense hadn't have made those 2 plays. And I'm so happy for them because they kind of took a step as a defense.
And do you look at this game glass half full or glass half empty?
I look at it as half full because I think if our defense plays the way it can, the way it's capable of and creates turnovers like that, I think the sky is the limit, and I know we can fix and do a better job of coaching our ball security to put us in that situation. So I'm very excited. It may get overlooked a little bit. Because the final score doesn't seem like a shutout or anything, but I think that might have been our best defensive performance of the year, really, and because they get put in a tough spot. Their Colorado State's first touchdown drive is 7 yards, and then they have one drive where our defense is exhausted because of us turning the ball over. That's a 14-yard, 68-yard drive. And then the last one, we kind of miss a tackle. We can't expect Brawley to play perfect in his first game back. He's got stuff to work on too. We all do. So, I think there's a lot to build on. And, good teams find a way to win. I'm sure Texas A&M ain't exactly thrilled how they came out today to be down 30-3, but they found a way to win. So you'd much rather have that than say, oh, man, we played great, but we lost.
We're going to let him go before we get another shirtless question. So
Okay, good.
You want one more? Sean wants one more.
The injury stuff. Lopez, what is he dealing with, and how long is he expected to be out?
Head injury. Hopefully we can get him back next week.
Okay, and then Lobstein, any updates on him, the timeline?
Leg injury. Hope we get him back next week.
Okay.
All right, thanks, fellas.